Hi guys, this is Kiri with Healthfully Rooted Home, and today I am doing my very first Q&A video. I'm a little nervous to do this. I don't like doing personal videos like this, which is why I haven't done one yet. But I also think that it would be a good way for you guys maybe to get to know me a little bit more, where I can talk a little bit more candidly, and answer some questions that I haven't really had a chance to address in the comments section. So I weeded through my comment section and I picked out some of the most common questions that I've gotten from you guys, and I'm just going to go ahead and address them today. Okay, I was going to do a whole separate video on this, and I don't think it actually warrants a separate video. In my testimony video, which I think a lot of you guys have maybe come from this video. I think it's the most popular video on my channel, but it's my New Age to Christ testimony. I had a lot of people ask for more details on the spiritual attacks that my husband and I experienced as I was coming back to the Lord and as my husband and I were starting our relationship. So one of the spiritual attacks was reading, what was it? A lot of it happened when he was like reading the Bible to me, or when we would be watching a sermon or something. But I don't know if we were reading the Bible or he was watching a sermon. But anyways, he went to go to the bathroom, and from the room that we were in, the bathroom was like kitty corner to it. And so he goes into the bathroom, and all of a sudden I hear him like fall over, which my husband is a big man. He's 6'4", but so he's really tall. And so I guess if he falls over, it would make kind of a loud noise. But this was like, I could tell that it was like he was pushed into the wall. And then it didn't just happen once, it happened about 4 times. And it was like he was being thrown in the bathroom. And it's exactly what it sounded like, as if someone was in the bathroom with him and he was being thrown across the entire bathroom. It was really trippy. I had no idea what was going on. We hadn't been drinking anything, like nothing at all. We were just, I don't know, watching a sermon or reading the Bible or something. And so when he came out, I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "That was really weird." And he explained to me exactly what it sounded like, which is that he was being thrown across the bathroom, but like he couldn't control it. So that's one. The next one is I would get sick when he would like come over to my house. Let's say I was like making him dinner or something. He would come over to my house, and this is when we were dating. He would come over to my house and I would just randomly be sick, like nauseous. I wouldn't be able to hang out. And it was just very sudden, and that happened a couple different times. Joey was getting night terrors, and so he would, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced or know someone who has experienced sleep paralysis, but basically it's where you're sleeping, and in his case, it can present itself in different ways, but in his case, he feels like he can't, he's paralyzed. He can't move, but also that he's being choked out, and he can't get whatever he's being choked out by off of him. So that happened to him 2 different times after he and I were on the phone. You know, when you're starting a relationship and you're talking late into the night, that happened 2 times after we had like a late night phone call. And so, yeah, he would get physically attacked in his sleep, and he just called out the name of Jesus and it would stop. And he had experienced this previous to meeting me, or prior to meeting me, and he said it used to scare him, but then when he met me, he knew what was going on. He understood, oh, I'm being attacked right now spiritually, and so he knew he just needed to call out to Jesus and it would stop. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, and then the last spiritual attack that we experienced is he would read the Bible. And I guess I don't know if this is necessarily a spiritual attack. It was definitely spiritual though. So he would be reading the Bible to me, and I was open to it. I was open to, and if you go back and listen to my testimony, you know that my husband was a Christian. I was not. But I was open to it. And so he would be reading the Bible to me, and we'd be having a healthy debate. And I would just get like seething angry, like so mad, where like I could just feel this like burning sensation in my stomach as he was reading me the Bible. And just like a really visceral anger. And like that would come out in how I was talking to him and the things that I would say. And it freaked him out. He was like, who is this? Because it was like I flipped a switch. And then that happened a couple times, and then a couple times he would read me the Bible and I would just fall asleep. Like we'd be like on the couch and I would just pass out. Now, I will tell you, that's so weird for me. I am not a napper. I do not sleep. I don't fall asleep anywhere. I have a hard time falling asleep in the comfort of my own home when I am dog tired at night. And so that does not happen, which is why that's weird. So that's it. Those are the spiritual attacks that I can think of. Maybe there's more. There's probably more little ones. In fact, they're already coming to my head, but they're like minor. But those are like the most prominent ones that stand out. I got a lot of questions on my pregnancy supplements video that I did back in my last pregnancy. If you didn't catch it in my last video, I am pregnant with our third baby. And so you guys asked, I had some questions in my previous pregnancy supplements video, which is all the supplements I take during pregnancy, what I have changed, which, by the way, very wise question. I love when people ask questions like, have your views changed on this? Or just with anything. Because when a YouTuber puts out a video and they say, this is what I'm doing, it's very likely that their mind could change down the line. So I watched my video. Pretty much nothing has changed. I'm doing the oysters as sort of a multivitamin. I'm doing like everything I said in that video. You can go back and watch it. I'm doing all of that. I'm doing a couple things differently though. And one is that I am taking a prenatal vitamin, and I wasn't before. And it's because that's a whole rabbit trail, but prenatal vitamins are just full of junk. And they're also kind of a waste of money if you don't get the right ones, because they have like a minuscule amount of the vitamins and minerals that your body and your baby actually needs during pregnancy. And then, they're just filled with junk. So I was kind of on that whole train then, but I also was very serious during that pregnancy about getting the nutrients I needed through my diet. And in order to do that, I was like just kind of stressed about eating enough like red meat and animal fats, and I drank a lot of raw milk and egg yolks and things like that, which I agree with all those foods. I think that those are all superfoods, especially when you're pregnant. I also know they're super controversial, and I'm going to get comments about you shouldn't be drinking raw milk or raw egg yolks when you're pregnant. I disagree with that if you're sourcing them properly and if you do your research. So that's a whole rabbit trail I'm not going to go down. So do your own research. But I was very stressed about getting all those foods in and enough of them. And I didn't want to be stressed during this pregnancy about that. I just wanted to know that I was getting what I needed and what my baby needed through a prenatal vitamin. And so I found what I believe to be one of the best prenatals on the market. The bummer is that it takes 8 capsules, but you're getting enough of the nutrients that you need per day. So anyways, I will link the vitamin I use below. What is it called? It's called Fullwell Prenatal Vitamin, and I'll link it below. It is on Amazon. I get it through, what's it called? Fullscript, I think. It's where like midwives and practitioners, they can kind of write like recommendations or scripts for vitamins, and you buy those through a website. So anyways, it's called that is called Fullscript, and this is called the prenatal vitamin is called Fullwell. Anyways, I heard about this. I read the book Real Food for Pregnancy by Lily Nichols, and I learned a lot about pregnancy nutrition and things like that in that book, but also I learned about these prenatal vitamins. So anyways, yeah, that is something I'm doing differently. I'm not doing the adrenal cocktails. This is something that this is kind of controversial. They're full of sugar because of the orange juice and the coconut water. There's a lot of sugar content, and I was doing 2 a day so that I could keep my minerals up, and that's just a lot of sugar. And I gained a lot of weight in that pregnancy, partly because of that, but also because of all the food I had to eat to make sure I was getting enough nutrients. But then also I was just legitimately eating a lot of sugar, like treats and things like that. So, but I know me, and I'm the type of person where if I'm having sugar on a consistent basis, then it makes me want more sugar and more sugar and more sugar and more sugar until I like overload on sugar. So anyways, the adrenal cocktails kind of started my day off with like a big hit of sugar, and I just don't feel like that was good for my body. There are some people that I think they would work really well for. Now, I will say the point of the adrenal cocktails is that you are actually hydrating your body and you're replacing the minerals. And so the way that I still do that without all the sugar is I mix cream of tartar and sea salt, and it's just like a powder, and I just put some in my mouth, chug some water, and I do that about twice a day. And then I have other little drinks that I drink that don't have sugar in them that also help to replenish my minerals. So those are the main things that I'm doing differently. Everything else is pretty much the same as that video. Is there any way to preview your meal plans? Yes, now there is. I've needed to do this for a long time, but I debated about whether or not I actually wanted to give a preview of my 6-month meal plans, because I didn't want to like, what's the phrase? I don't know. Like, I didn't want to just give away the meal plans. And by sharing the meals in the meal plans, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of, I mean, that's half of it, right? Is like giving you the ideas for the meals. So I don't know, I prayed about it, and enough of you guys had asked for a preview, and I just figured, you know what? I want these meal plans to bless people, and so if someone gets what they need just with the preview, then, you know, I hope it's a blessing for you guys. And yeah, hopefully you feel compelled to buy a meal plan if they look valuable to you still. So anyways, I do have previews now on my website. If you go to, I'll link it below, but if you go to my website, shop meal plans, and you scroll all the way down right before you can shop for all the different meal plans, there's a preview of all the recipes in each meal plan. I might take that down though. Like if it becomes a problem, I might take that down. So maybe just go check that out now if you've been interested. Do we want more children after this one? So like I said, I'm pregnant with our third. I don't know. I'm taking it one at a time. My last pregnancy, I was done. I said I will never do this again. And after, pretty much after leaving the hospital, my husband and I started doing research. Sorry guys, the lighting is changing so much, and I don't know, I'm probably super washed out right now, but I'm gonna leave it because clouds are going over the sun. So anyways, we get home from the hospital and I'm like already starting research. I'm like in so much pain from childbirth and all of that. And so I already start doing research on how to prevent conception. And I just didn't feel good about any option. And this is personally for us. Personally for us in this season of our life, I didn't feel good about anything. And that could change down the line. I don't know. And then, my husband and I were talking about it, and he felt the same way. And so, again, I want to be very clear that is specific to us. It's our own conviction. That might change down the line. It just felt like any reason why we didn't want children was not of the Lord. It was not, it just, I don't know. I want to be very careful with how I answer this question. So for us, we didn't feel right about it. So then I got pregnant. What a blessing from the Lord. And I was in a place where I was so totally okay with being pregnant. I was like excited. And then I was really nervous though for the pregnancy because I had had pretty rough pregnancies before this one. And this has been totally different. Such a great pregnancy, all things considered. So I talked about this in my last video. It's been a really redemptive pregnancy. And so I have seen now, the Lord has taught me through this, kind of the bigger picture. And so now, even if I go on to have more children, maybe those pregnancies aren't as good as this one, I still can kind of see the bigger picture. And I know that the Lord has an eternal perspective. So I know He is the ultimate when it comes to knowing what's best for us. So anyways, a long way to say, I don't know. We'll see what the Lord has for us. What do I use in place of vegetable oil? This is in response to my things I don't buy video or my frugal homemaking video. I say I don't cook with vegetable oils or seed oils or anything. So it depends on the application, but mostly I use avocado oil if a recipe says vegetable oil. For certain things, I will use coconut oil. So I really like the taste of coconut oil in brownies. So I'll use coconut oil for that. But avocado oil is the easiest replacement because it's in a liquid form, just like vegetable oil would be, and also it doesn't have a flavor. Okay, a lot of questions about what I did before I was a full-time homemaker, or am I a full-time homemaker? Yes, I'm a full-time homemaker. I didn't used to be. Well, okay, I worked up until my son was 1 year old. So my husband and I got married. We immediately got pregnant. So 9 months later, had a baby. And then I worked all the way up until my son was a year old. Our first was 1 year old. But I had a 6-month maternity leave. So I only worked for 6 months of my son's life. And I worked from home, and we had a nanny. So it really was the best setup, honestly. Yeah, I felt really convicted that I needed to be home. And My husband and I were really prayerful about it, and it was hard though because I had a great job. I was in a senior level position for a very large company. We were dual income, living very comfortably. So in order for me to stay home, we had to make a lot of lifestyle changes and, just don't live as comfortably being single income. The Lord's hand was just totally in it though. The whole time he was just, it's cool to look back and see because COVID happened, my whole job changed. I didn't particularly love my job anymore because it just totally changed. But then also there were certain things that happened in COVID and rules that my company was making us follow that I didn't. And so I ended up losing my job and was able to collect unemployment though, which that gave us a cushion for about a year after me coming home because I lost my job to feel comfortable. And so that is a huge blessing. And then, ever since I've just stayed home, it's just felt like the right thing to do. Okay, so I wanted to read this comment because I get a lot of comments like this, and I love when I get comments like this. So she says, so I'm a very busy businesswoman. I own 3 businesses and hire a lot out. My husband wants to take the role as the lead, which I think is amazing, by the way. I think that it's very hard to find husbands who are willing to take the lead and to be the sole provider because it's a lot of pressure for them. So in this day and age, I think that might be more rare than it used to be. And is starting his own business and wants me to taper off my businesses and become a homemaker. Obviously, this has caused contention. It may sound weird after watching all these homemaker videos, my job looks easy in comparison. Do you always feel fulfilled? Does your family appreciate all of your hard work? What do you plan on doing when the kids leave? I'm truly curious. I don't know how to even begin to navigate this lifestyle. I love this question. It's so humble, and it's recognizing the magnitude of the job if you take the job seriously. You could be a full-time homemaker and, squander it all away and, not pour your heart into it, and it would probably be a lot easier. But yeah, I love this question. Just to answer the low-hanging fruit first, does your family appreciate all your hard work? I hope so. My husband does. My kids are too young to tell me that, but hopefully I'll see the fruit of that later. What do you plan on doing when the kids leave? I don't know. I still love work. I love working. I really did love working. So maybe go back to work, but that seems so far off now. We do plan on homeschooling, so this would be when they leave the home. So that seems like a really long time. I hope that I can mentor young wives and mothers in a Titus 2 way. And there's still a lot of work to do at home, even when the kids are out. So, I don't know. We'll see. Do you always feel fulfilled? Okay. Well, there's been a lot of blessings from me coming home. The first is that I have been refined in so many ways that I never would have been if I hadn't have come home and if I would have continued to work. I've had to grow in a lot of ways. In John 15, it talks about how the Lord prunes away like the dead branches. And I really feel like he's done that with me through being home, because there's just no calling in sick when you're home. Like, it's just, you're really in it. And that can feel heavy. And so, anyways, I feel like the Lord has done a lot of refining with me, which has been a big blessing. Personally, regarding fulfillment, I see this as my job now. and I really threw myself into it when I became a full-time homemaker, where I wanted to excel as if I were at my corporate job, as if I, were trying to get a promotion at work. I wanted to excel. And so if my job was to cook dinner, okay, I'm going to be the best darn cook there is for my family. I am going to learn how to make healthy food taste great. I'm going to learn how to source good food for a good price. I really threw myself into it. The me time part, I think she said something about having time for yourself. If you are efficient with your time, and if you have well-trained children, then you should have plenty of you time. Maybe not as much as you're used to, but this gal was talking about owning several businesses, and her husband was talking about her staying home or scaling back. So I think she's probably working at a pretty high level. And so, I think she would have just as much time. But for those of you who may be wondering about me time, yeah, I mean, you definitely have it. You have to find the opportunities for it, though. And that could change day by day, especially depending on if you have children or not. So, yeah, that's it. Those are all the questions that I have. But, okay, so to wrap that question up, yes, I feel fulfilled. I don't always feel fulfilled. I mean, every single day is not sunshine and roses. But, yeah, for the most part, I feel very fulfilled, just as I would at any job. Actually, more so than I would at any other job, because I know that I'm living out the Lord's will for my life. All right. Well, thank you so much for your questions. I love when you guys leave comments. It helps me to get to know you guys and to know who's watching and what you want to see and what you like seeing, what you don't like seeing, all of that. I love it. And I appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. This is Kiri with Healthfully Rooted Home.